on social. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. I don't know if we're on LinkedIn, but hi, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So, I came up with a great topic today, but before I go through the topic, which is all about Money Friday today, is because money touches everything you love, right? Do you guys know that? Yes? Money touches everything you love. What does it touch? It touches your kids' education, right? I have a woman that comes to my house and she educates my son, and she has way more experience than I have around educating my son. I know some of you stay-at-home moms that really have this whipped. I admire you. I admire you and I admire you. But that is not my strength, right? Everybody has a superpower. You see what I'm saying, right? So I'm out of the world. I'm absolutely not willing to play in the world that we like to judge each other for the fact that we don't all have each other's superpower. Okay, so can we just acknowledge that we're good at different things and we don't need to shame people for eating vegan or eating meat or homeschooling their kids or putting them in the system or even doing shots or no shots, right? It's like I have my point of view and I'm strong on my point of view. I hope you have your point of view. But if we make each other wrong, what's going to do is we're going to kill our network. The minute that we kill our network, we put ourselves in a position that we are vulnerable. Okay, why? Your network is your net worth. You've heard it a million times. I'm not going to talk motivation to you. I'm not going to tell you something today that you've already heard. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to talk to you about how do I find money for absolutely everything that I need. Okay, you guys ready for that? Yes, no, maybe so, or you don't need it today. Keith, whoever's got an unmuted line, please mute them. Find them. Okay, so I want to show you today how I find money for everything that I want. And it's funny because I wrote out an outline, and it's so if you're new to us online right now, know that my heart, my intention is always to tell you how I got somewhere. Okay, you get what I'm saying? How I got somewhere, because that's my thinking. And once you can pattern it, once I can pattern my next mentor, or say I wanted to become a real estate developer, I could do it the hard way and do it based on my own intellect and go through trial and error, or I could find somebody who's been through hard times. You don't want to find somebody who's not been through hard times, right? Like the person that sits in front of you and goes, oh yeah, I've always been so great, da, 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 it's always worked out for me. I don't know what to tell you, it's just always worked out for me. I freak out about that person. They're either a liar or they haven't played big enough yet. Either or, I don't want to hang out. Do you guys hear what I'm saying, right? Do you understand why? Because you need to have somebody in front of you that 100% has gone through hard times and made it to the other side. That's where wisdom gets created, right? That's where wisdom gets created. So there's no point looking at your past and going, gosh, I wish I would have. That's kind of unfair because you didn't know, or you would have. You didn't have the wisdom. You weren't the person that you are today. That's why we pay mentors. That's why we spend time with people. I have a friend that moved to Texas just to be next to a mentor. Literally just railed up his whole family, moved to Texas, had no desire to be in Texas, just to be close to a mentor. Why? Because when you're in proximity to somebody that you're studying with or want to study with, what happens is they end up becoming friends, but they also rub off on you. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? That's where speed comes into play. But my experience is a lot of people are not willing to do what it takes to get to the top because they somehow think that they are going to lose too much. So they're not focusing on the gain, right? This is the winning scenario here. They're literally focusing on the cost. Now, let me prove to you or work with you for a second to see where does your mind jog to. Okay, so if I told you that you needed to move to Puerto Rico with me, right? If I said, okay, let me show. First of all, let me do a quick survey. How many of you guys know that you want to have $1 million liquid in a bank account? let's not get into it should be invested or you're losing money in bank. Like, let's not get into that. But like, how many guys know that it would be pretty good if you could get $1 million liquid in an account? Okay. So there's a strategy for that. There's a strategy for that. And if you locked onto the strategy, you could do that strategy. The problem that I believe is happening is if the cost is to do that, I need you to move to Puerto Rico. I'm not saying this is the strategy. I'm just saying, follow me here. Be honest with yourself right now. If I told you that you need to move to Puerto Rico for, let's call it 4 years, for 4 years of your life. So I want you to go forward for 4 years right now. Hi, Darshna, nice to see you. Move forward 4 years. How old are you in 4 years? Esteban's like, I'm going. Yeah, that does surprise me because I'm watching you leap like leaps and bounds. The Bring a Friend contest was incredible for you, right? And so, and because people stood by your side and said, don't take a back door, right? When you have people around you that say, don't take a back door, you start to shore up differently, right? You learn who you are. You guys don't know what I'm talking about. Many of you guys don't know what I'm talking about, but for you guys who do, you know what I'm talking about. Inside story, right? So if I told you that you would have to move to Puerto Rico, right now we're doing this live, it's September 1st. September 1st! You guys, September, October, November, Christmas! It's coming! So good. Okay, so I'm gonna come back to your study here. So if you had to go to Puerto Rico and you had to move there by Christmas, let's add another layer of pressure. You had to move there by Christmas, what comes up for you? For real, like let's just pretend you just spent $35,000. We just spent a day together. Some of you guys all just went, I would never spend $35,000 for a day. Yeah, but $35,000 got you 1 million in the bank. Whether you've ever made $1 million or not, if I could give you the strategy based on your strengths, to do 1 million in the bank based on your passion, your calling, all the things, right? Because I could do that. I 100% can do that. I have no doubt in my mind that I could do that. Thing is not many people ask for it, right? Remember, you're the leader of your ship and you ask for the things that you believe you can do. Don't get me going on spirituality here. Right? Like it's like you're carrying so much weight and not really getting the power of the network because so many of you guys are fighting on the network based on who's right and who's wrong. You know what I'm focused on? How do I grow that network? How do I grow that network? Because I already got my friends. Not saying that some of that network doesn't become my friends, but the ones that will become my friends are the ones that have the same value systems I do, or respect my value systems as I respect theirs. Okay, so so now stay with me. Be honest, because this is everything. How I get money for absolutely anything I want. A house, a plane, education for my kid. My son did not walk around masked. Because I could only imagine all the kids that walked around for 3 years masked, what that did to not only their immune system, but what it did to their normalcy. I don't think any parent on the planet would want to see their child masked all the time, right? So we just weren't in society like that, right? So we weren't being disrespectful to other people. We weren't trying to freak anybody out or get anybody sick, but we changed our life. And my son literally, and by the way, it's coming back. How many of you guys know that, right? You know, it's coming back right now. I just walked into a building, they were all masked, right? And so it's coming back. We're going for it again. Get ready, all you digital marketers, everybody who marketed digital, get ready. It's going to be wave 2. We'll see how far they take it or what people do around this. But what that means is when breakdown happens, opportunity happens. So don't get all caught in who's right and who's wrong. Because if you do, you're going to be complaining, and then you're going to be battling the network called your life for the people you meet, and you're going to be losing versus gaining. Okay, don't get caught in that conversation, y'all. If you do, you're gonna miss it. Because while everybody was complaining, guess what a bunch of us were doing? Making a lot of money. You have a captive audience that's gonna sit there again. Maybe. I don't know how society's gonna react, right? But if they do, if they go back in and get locked down or whatever goes into the next generation of this thing, you have to remember there's going to be an opportunity, and you're going to have to change your messaging, because your messaging is what becomes money. Your messaging is what becomes money. So one of the things we are doing in our family, I told you all I was going to buy a house in Puerto Rico. We did it. We did it the way we said we were going to do it, and we did it. Right? Found a beautiful home. We love it. And we're going to have a lot of fun in that home. Right? And we did it. I did it financially the way I said we were going to do it. And by the way, we have 2 other homes lined up that want to do the same deal. Okay? Now, saying that, your messaging has to change to create your money. So when the world shifts, your messaging has to change to create your money. So I remember who I work with, entrepreneurs. So guess how I'm going to inspire y'all? I'm going to play big. So we're going to go buy a farm, probably might be in Italy. We're going to go end of next summer to Italy for a month, and we're going to go all around Italy. Why am I choosing Italy? No GMOs. What am I doing? I'm focusing on the gain, not the cost. What's it going to cost me? Whether I can afford it or can't afford it. You guys follow me? So if I told you you had to move to Puerto Rico for 4 years, to be able to afford taking care of you and your family, what comes up? And I'll tell you what comes up, the cost. That's natural. The cost comes up. I'm not sure I want to leave my neighborhood. I've got the most amazing community here. I just love it. It's like, I can't leave it. Y'all get what I'm saying? My mom's leaving Canada right now in a couple days, and she's moving. She's leaving all of her friends and family, and she's coming to me and her grandson and my husband, and she's going to have a new adventure. All she keeps doing is managing her mind on the game. She did our hardcore leadership program. If she wouldn't have done it, I guarantee you she wouldn't be on a plane coming here in a couple days. She sold her house. She's coming. Pretty awesome. All she talked about before is the cost. The cost was, I have all my friends. I have my aunt who they've been together since they were like 12 years old. You know, I've got my brother here. I've got I'm very comfortable. I own my own house. You know what I mean? Like, what if I lost all of that? She went as far as, what if something happened to you, Shanda, and there's nobody there to take care of me? Because she was panicking. She did our hardcore leadership program. This is not a pitch for hardcore leadership. But what we did was we realigned her mind to the gain. What are you gaining? What are you gaining if you moved to Puerto Rico? What are you gaining if you got married? What are you gaining if you invested in a coach? What are you gaining if you did a webinar? What are you gaining if you built a live event? What are you gaining? Because if you don't get good at that, what will happen is money will always shift out of your life. Okay, so I'm going to put you on a stretch right now. Think about something that you really want to create, $1 million liquid, or whatever it is for you. What do you want to create? Write it down on a piece of paper right now. Let's not have this training be something that was interesting, but you did nothing with it. Okay, we don't want that. So write down something that you really, 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 really want. And what decision, Puerto Rico stands for a decision, right? What decision do you need to make to be able to directly impact your cash flow? Right? So when we were living in California, you guys understand, right? Enough said. I mean, it's just impossible to get ahead. It just is. And we generate a good amount of income. It is just, if I wanted to, and some of you guys might live in California, New York City, and you love it. Awesome. There's a massive cost to that. Massive cost. And when you start making a lot more money, you will notice how many years it took you to make a lot of money because you couldn't get ahead when you made a little money. Do you hear what I'm saying? Now, I can already hear some people, but my granddaughter lives in New York or California and I want to be right next to them. Okay, great. That's awesome. I don't fight that at all. Right? So when you pass, what's left for granddaughter? Okay, so now what I'm not saying is you should not spend time with granddaughter. That's not what I'm saying. My mother-in-law came down to Puerto Rico. She stayed with us for a month. It was amazing. My mom came from Canada. She stayed with us for 3 months. It was amazing. And the truth is that we also want our own space, and she wants her own space. But she came down for, my son paints and draws now because of my mother-in-law coming for a month to Puerto Rico. She influenced him. It was super powerful. And then she comes back. She goes back to her husband. She goes back to her art classes. And then she comes back for big chunks of time. You know what she said to me? I've spent more time with my grandson in 1 month than I have since he was born. That was 7 years. That was 7 years of living in the same proximity. But very different when she comes and she parks herself in our house for a month, 2 months, or 3 months, and is getting up with her grandson. And is, so how can you create that? Focusing on the gain. See, if we're so afraid to let go of what we have, we can't make the decisions that create what we're trying to build. Okay, so Puerto Rico is a great example. It's a very, very low tax break, right? But it's also absolutely beautiful if you love Spanish culture, if you love that type of, which I do, right? My girlfriend who I had dinner with last night went to Mexico. Mexico has 0 tax breaks. 0. Right? We both got some roughing it in our islands and on our places, right? But she has 0 tax benefits. And how old is she? Almost 60 years old. So I'm like, what are you going to do? Sell your company in California? What was the point? Because there's nothing left. So the reason why I'm going to break this down for you, the reason why I wanted to bring this up for you guys is because, first of all, I think you're smart. Second of all, absolutely everybody in your life can be enrolled when you have a vision that includes your network. So sometimes your network is your husband, your wife, your sister, your mother. You get what? They're all part of your network. Okay. And trust me, my husband was no, we're not moving to Puerto Rico. No, we're not. Like he's an analyzer. It's always no first before it's yes. Right. And so I can fight with him because guess what? I never wanted to move to Puerto Rico. This isn't about Puerto Rico. Right. I never wanted to move to Las Vegas from Vancouver, Canada, but I knew there was a greater life for me in America. Sorry, Canadians. I love you. I am Canadian. But again, if you look at all the taxes in Canada, I knew at a very young age that I didn't want to be paying 60% taxes. Because if you look at how much you're paying in your property taxes, how much you're paying in your income taxes, how much you're paying in GST, is it called, PST, and whatever other taxes they put on your bills when you go to pay for your food, it's unbelievable. And then they say things like, but we have great medical. Do you know all my friends who are very wealthy in Canada? They don't go to the medical there because it's almost impossible to get into the medical. They come to America and they use their cash to go to specialists. So true. My stepfather is Canadian. Guess where he came to be treated for cancer? America. He would have been dead by the time he actually got his appointment in Canada. So I share this with you guys, my friends, because we got to unhook. You guys ready to unhook? We got to unhook. And before you can unhook, you got to look at what is my vision, not money. What is my vision? So my vision is that we have a farm for our family because having good food is important to me. When I go to Whole Foods now and I see grapes that are this big and they say organic, I'm pretty darn sure that's not organic. I'm pretty darn sure somewhere, someplace, the stipulations or the rules and regulations for organic has changed, and I'm sure it was buried in the small print somewhere that I never saw. Okay? And so get it? So I'm not going to sit back and complain, because if I sit back and complain, I'm dead, right? Like, or I'm broke, or I'm divorced, or I'm whatever. Like, you can't sit there and look at your spouse and go, they're the problem, they're the problem, they're the problem, and expect for the thing to work out, right? You got leaders solve problems. Somebody put yes in the chat. Leaders solve problems. Yes. Okay. So I want you to grab a piece of paper. My vision is that we have a farm. My vision is not for me to farm it. My vision is not for me to farm it. Would I love to maybe farm it when I'm much, much older and I'm in a different season and maybe I want to do that? Yes. I cannot believe I just bought non-GMO seeds, which a bunch of my friends just bought on a text thread. And I have medicinal herb seeds. I don't know what the heck I'm going to do with this thing, right? And then all of these vegetables, it's like apartment gardening for our home, right? And I'm just going to play with this, but I'm not really going to play with it. I already know who I'm hiring to do it in Puerto Rico. Okay? I already know who I'm hiring. Okay? And so, because I want it to look pretty too, right? But we want to farm. So we want to farm in the USA, but we also want to farm in Italy. Guys, I've been to Italy once. The only reason why I want to farm in Italy is non-GMO. Okay, like, watch me go next year. Watch me go the end of next summer. It'll be there she goes, right? It's like, I have no calling to Italy. I have no fantasy of Italy. I have a logical vision of I want a non-GMO farm. Okay. Now the second thing is I want a compound. Why? Because part of my vision is friends. I call them the yacht club. No kidding. This is the real truth. I spelled yacht wrong. Yachts. I put a T in there. I can't spell. I spelled yachts instead of yacht. And I have friends. There we go, Zena. I have friends that I call my yacht club friends. And they're my friends that I'm doing life with forever. Okay. So I grew up on boats. You know, some of my favorite vacations are on big yachts when I was a kid, 100-foot or more. And I have so many beautiful memories of that. Okay, I have so many beautiful memories of no technology working and just being there. So I want a compound. Okay, and so my farm needs to have compoundability, and I want a runway for my plane. Okay, which I have now. I don't say that to brag or boast. I say that it was a necessity. So I got it, now I'm used to it. Right? So now it's in my comfort zone. This will be in my comfort zone soon. This will be in my comfort zone soon. How will I buy that? Seller finance. Why? First of all, it's a good deal for the seller to do it. I mean, if I sell our place in California, I will most likely sell it on seller finance. Why? Because I would like more money in my bank account, and I would like to spread out capital gains. And if they do default on it, the really nice thing about that is I have a nice down payment and a house that's appreciated in value. There's no bad spot with it. You guys hear what I'm saying? Like, what are you going to do with all your cash if you sold your house? You're going to go invest it, aren't you? People are like, yeah, I'm going to go invest it, get 6 or 7%. Okay. Where? A bond, a CD? Okay. But if you could get a buyer to buy your house and you get a down payment and they're paying off that property and they're making improvements or whatever it is that they're doing, they don't want to let go of that property. Do you see what I'm saying? And so you're literally just taking the interest of that house, but you've already agreed on a nice big fat price. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you guys get it? Because if I sell a house for 3 million, do you think I walk with 3 million? No, I have all those taxes, and then I have a much smaller nugget. So if I get a nice big nugget, and all of that's coming to me over 4, 5, 6, or 7, or 10 years, that's great. Do you guys see yes, you get it? So I'm going to buy these on seller finance. We have a client, I don't know if she's here right now, that heard me talk about this last year, and she went and bought her farm seller finance. Okay. We have another client who heard me. She's actually one of our 1% clients. I talked to her about do not go to the banks right now. She went and bought, I think it's like a 16 or 15,000 square foot home, all seller finance. Okay. There's no way she would have had the deposit cash to put on that property for the whole thing. Do you guys, yes, you get it? So even if you did have the deposit cash, which we have cash, right? Wouldn't you rather deploy it into improvements or furniture, or in my case, farms? People to run it, people to farm it. Yes, get it? So what's your vision? Because this is the one that's on me right now. The other piece I'm looking at right now is I want 300,000 reoccurring a month. Okay, people tell me not to talk like this online because they're like, meet people where they're at. Okay, do you know where I was at 10 years ago? Can I just make $5,000 a month? What were you doing 10 years ago? Who were you hanging out with? Because you know what I was doing? I was investing in VIP days and coaches that I couldn't afford. And you might think that's irresponsible, but I would do it again faster. And here's the system that I did. I did list. I got a list first, an email list and a text message list. And then I studied copywriting, and I paid $1,500 a month for a copywriting course. And then that's what jumped me into the 6 figures. Then I started hiring high-level coaches. And I always felt insignificant. I always felt like I was the smallest fish in the room. I know you're supposed to do that, but it's not easy to do, right? You feel not ready. You feel like, so I walked through all of that. The reason why I'm sharing all of this with you is because for you to make or get or make whatever money you need, this must be worth it. So my coaching for you today is to develop a worth it vision. Instead of asking yourself, well, where would I do it in Italy? I don't know. I'm just going to plan on Italy the end of next summer so I can go check it out. With the intention, just like I went to Puerto Rico for a week with the intention of looking at homes and seeing if my husband and I wanted to move. Do you think in God's green earth, I would have pulled the trigger to move to Puerto Rico just like that? You don't go from 0 to 60. You have to get yourself into proximity, right? You got to get yourself to the live event. You got to get yourself to Italy. You got to get yourself to Canada. You got to get wherever you're being called. But for gosh sakes, stop making decisions on your feelings, because you know what? I can always have a house in California. In fact, I'll be able to afford an oceanfront home in California, all cash, in a couple years from now. Do you see what because I made the hard move. Who's picking this up right now? Are you getting it? So worth it is what you're battling with in your mind. And guess who's responsible for creating that? You! Right? Like you. So instead of sitting around saying, I can't leave my neighborhood, I can't invest in a coach, I can't afford a farm, I can't find the love of my life. You don't find the love of your life? Hire a freaking great relationship coach. I don't have the money to do it. That's what we just talked about. Your vision's not big enough. Because you will always find the money for what you need when your vision's big enough. Always. always. So I want to leave you with this thought. You notice there's three things there. You got farm, you got friends, and you got reoccurring income. This is reoccurring income not from hardcore business, but from my investments. Okay, so it's not from my working, it's my investments. Okay, so I don't have a vision. I have a vision to work forever. I really do. But I don't have a vision to, like, I don't want to have to work forever. Does that make sense? There's a difference to that. And so when I plan out something that's worth it. So at first, when I wanted $5,000 a month, that was the vision. But I had a worth it plan. If I could make $5,000 a month, I could live at the time where I wanted to live. That was what was important to me. So my point is I'm going to encourage you to have a smart plan now in this world with artificial intelligence, with food going the way it's going. I can already see the writing on the wall, people getting mad that, that much of your vegetables and your meat and all of that, it's got fake food in it. Okay. And so, is it going to be surprising when illness rates go up even more? Like, you can't eat poor quality food. This is another reason why to make a lot of money, because you can't eat poor quality food and expect to be healthy. You just can't, right? You just can't. I watched a man last week go to my friends when we talked about this on the on-demand mastermind on Zoom, and he walked in with ALS, and 8 days later didn't have ALS in his body anymore. When multiple doctors that are ALS specialist doctors told him that he would be dead in like six to 8 months. Right? They told him, get your affairs in order, you're gone. Couldn't speak, couldn't swallow, left arm was dead, trying to put food in his mouth, couldn't, get it in his mouth. He was in a bad situation. He was going to Switzerland to say goodbye to himself. Okay, there was no hope for him. And so goes to my friends, and through detoxing, and I'm not talking about cleanses, but detoxing and working in oxygen baths and detoxing their body, in 8 days, this dude is in a position where the hospital, not my friends, the hospital says he has no more ALS in his body. Same thing happened to my stepdad around his heart conditions. Eisenhower Hospital said, you have no more heart conditions. What did you do? It's impossible. Took him off all his heart medicine. So not the woo-woo functional medicine doctor, holistic doctor that said it. It was the actual full-blown pharmaceutical, medical grade hospitals that are confirming these things. However, they're not necessarily the ones healing us. You guys get it? Right? So we are responsible for what we consume in this mouth. And so if you want to be complaining 4 or 5 years from now, because it's coming fast, if you want to be complaining that you feel like the government should have taken care of you, here's what I say to you: stop being irresponsible. You are not a victim in this game. You are not somebody who has to stand by the side and watch this happen. We can show you how to make money, but you won't do what it takes until you have your worth it plan. So the way that I get money for absolutely everything that I want is I first decide, what do I want? And is this worth it to go after? Right? So my family is worth it. My old age with my friends all being in the same place, it's worth it. This takes care of all of us. Even if they messed up, I'd be able to take care of them. Right? Like, I'm the girl that has extra toilet paper in my house and extra food in my house, that if something happened, I could help take care of my neighbors. Right? What am I going to do? Tell them to stand out on the street if there's an earthquake? No, that's not how I roll. And I recommend that none of us roll that way. Get ahead of the plan and it will work. As far as creating money for this, there's seller finance, but maybe you don't have any money. Well, come to the zone event. How many of you guys are coming to the zone event? Put me. Come to the zone event. I'll show you. Give me 3 days and I will show you how to make money around the thing that you're doing. I will absolutely show you how to make money with the thing that you're doing. So if you go to joinme@zone.com, join me at zone.com. I'll show you how to do it. Join me at zone.com. I'll show you how to do it. But here's the scenario. Well, I thought I'd cost here. The cost, Shanda, is I have to get on a plane. The cost, Shanda, is it's in Austin, Texas, the end of November. The cost, Shanda, is I have a retreat that time. Change the freaking retreat. Change the retreat. Right? It's been 3.5 years, 4 years since we did a zone event. How many people watching me right now made money at a past zone event? Like good money at a past zone event, right? Put me in the chat. Mariana, I'm looking on here. Mariana, is that right? Zena, right? Go put me in the chat if you've ever been to a past event of ours or zone event and made money, right? People make money in the room. People make money in the room. So it doesn't make a difference to me if you come to zone event or not. The room is almost sold out, but it matters to you, right? You can be a seeker your entire life and hope and wish that you can get the things that you want, but there is a how to. When I tell you to go create a worth it plan, how many of you guys are going to go do it? Put I am, if you are. But if you go to sleep today and wait till tomorrow, your worth it plan will not be as worth it. You know why? Because your urgency isn't there. The worth it plan creates a natural born urgency. I need to get in zone event right now, or I need to stop eating candy right now, or I need to repair my marriage right now, because if I don't repair my marriage, then I'm going to have to break up half my finances. Maybe that's the thing that gets you to put attention on your marriage. I don't know. I'm not going to judge your how to get into success. What I'm going to tell you is to trust yourself that what's worth it for you is worth it for you. And that's what you have to start focusing on. So as we go into next week, so I came back early this week, right? So I did yesterday and I did today. This is for you guys who are new. This is my flex time. So I normally don't go live. I'm going to the Jumpy Park in a few minutes to go have a kid date because I have an absolute insane September. I have 4 events. I have 4 events in September. And I'm doing some medical stuff as well. And I'm going to Arizona, Palm Springs, Puerto Rico. Like there's like a lot going on, right? I'm actually not going to Puerto Rico in September. But my point is there's a lot going on. There's 4 events going on. Plus we go live on this platform every single day. And so when we go into next week, we're going to focus on micro things that you can do to create things that are called lead magnets and sales lead offers. Okay, lead magnets and sales lead offers. Great example. Somebody just messaged me and said, Shanda, I had 250 people purchase a sales lead offer after doing your course. Okay, 250 people purchase a sales lead offer. She made about $12,000 in 10 days, $12,000 on 10 days, and it was completely automated online. First time she ever did it. Out of that 250 people, what if 5 of them wanted to pay her $50,000 or $10,000? 5 of them wanted to pay her $10,000. She generated $50,000 from the course. This is why you're absolutely insane if you don't go to joinmeatzoneevent.com. Absolutely insane. Because whether myself or somebody on our team works your strategy, we have easel time. We're going to show you how to create the strategy, but also the it factor to follow it through. We're going to focus on your network on day 3 of Zone Event. The reason why is because these are the people that hold you back or cast you forward. And if you don't know how to actually work your network, I'm telling you, there's some people in your life right now holding you back and they don't mean to. But they're holding you back because either you've disappointed them in the past, or you haven't followed through in the past, or you've been a hot mess behind closed doors and they watch you, or you're so stressed out that they're afraid you're going to break. And so they want to hold you back from devastation. Do you get what I'm saying? You need to be able to manage your network, y'all. Focusing on who's right or wrong is just going to have more controversy. Get it? Yes? But yes. So what's your takeaway from today? Go in the chat. Let me know what's your takeaway from today. So I was driving down the coast And I saw this little old lady and this little old man. And they were sitting in their kitchen with this big, huge window. And in front of the window was the coast, was the ocean. And I don't know how old they were because I was driving by. I just caught a glimpse of them. But I thought, how beautiful. They probably bought that house, the worth it strategy. They probably did the impossible, did the things that felt so uncomfortable. They bought that house right. And now they're sitting there, two little old people with their big window looking at the ocean, front view. And they were giggling, like they were laughing, having their breakfast. And I thought, gosh, I wonder what their story is. But what I made up about it was they're appreciating their breakfast right now. They're appreciating their breakfast right now because they were laughing and looking at the ocean, and it just doesn't suck, right? Like that just doesn't suck. And if we rewinded back in their life, literally, I was going to talk about them yesterday because I drove by them yesterday. I was like, they're still on my mind. I woke up thinking about them because I was like, if we could just appreciate where we are, but know where we want to go and stop being so darn scared of the steps to get there. See, you're scared of your accountability of the results. But that's where stop being a superhero that does it alone. You start leaning on us, or you start leaning on other people in your life, which means you got to get to the zone event, right? It's like when you start to lean on other people, then people can help you. I used to be the girl that every time you saw me, I was in my BlackBerry. And I didn't have enough time to talk to you because the truth is busy energy is an intimacy issue. And my intimacy issue came from fear of failure. And that fear of failure was also fear of rejection. When people talked about fear of failure, I never resonated with it. But you know when I resonated with it? It's asking myself the question, why will I not stay still enough to learn something that moves me forward? And really what it came down to is I had a fear of rejection. And it was big, y'all. So I share this with you because you can't be too busy to get around the network of people that create the results that you want. And there's no way that you'd be where you are today if you didn't hang out with the people that you hung out with. Whether you like where you are today or you don't, you are there because the people that you have spent the last 6-10 years with. What's wild is if you make a list of the people that you want to become friends with. I've done this many years, where I made a list of the impossible people that maybe were people in the business coaching arena or the speaking arena that I thought were commanding great audiences. I made a list of them. Do you know what? All of them but one have become my friend. All of them but one have become my friend. And honestly, I probably just let go of that intention. Okay, so I don't know what your worth it plan is, but I know it's worth it. And I'm certain you will not hit it if you don't lay it out. The how to, whether it's seller financing, whether it's selling 250 products that 5 people give you $10,000 for, the how to is easy. The question is, will you follow through? And you will if you're hanging out with the right network. It's written in every book around peak performance. When are you going to listen? All right, my friends. I love you. I'm super excited for your weekend. I hope you're doing something productive. I hope that you've scheduled something fun with someone that you love. I hope that you've scheduled something fun with you. And what I really hope is that you have a weekend that doesn't just slip by and Monday comes, because this weekend, it ain't never coming back. So do something valuable with it. All right, I'll see you on Monday, everybody, on Labor Day. Yes, I'll be going live on Labor Day. You don't have to come, but I will be here for you going live on Labor Day because that's what we do. All right, y'all. Bye. Zoom, stay with me.